I thought you were a scam at first. I didn't know if you were a real person. After I went on the radio, like the tickets were like selling. Like I ended up selling out within like 3 days.
You didn't take a no. You just kept going and going.
I want to have like a community because I didn't want to just do something once a year. If you're tired of doing the same thing over and over, then stop doing the same thing over and over.
Because you can't become a millionaire by accident.
Yeah.
Like you have to create value.
If we're talking about health, I want a doctor. I want a holistic doctor. If we're talking about finance, I want a financial expert. If we're talking, and now I focus on, okay, you need help. Here are the people that are also going to be here to help you.
CEO InMotion. CEO InMotion. CEO InMotion. CEO InMotion.
Ready to do this?
Yeah.
Christina, cheers.
Cheers.
Let's go. Welcome to another episode of the CEO InMotion, where we interview, CEOs, business entrepreneurs, and I'm here with Christina. How you doing?
I'm good. Got my medicine ball, so.
Yeah, can you please tell me what you just shared with me just now? What was your first question to me?
Oh, well, I thought you were a scam at first. I didn't know if you were a real person because your photo kind of looks like one of those those people that message you and they're like, hey, do you want to add 1 million followers for $29.99?
Oh my god, that's so crazy. And it's I don't even know, so let's get that. First I want to do a quick intro to you. Let me see if I'm missing anything because you got a lot going on. But you are the CEO of the Women of Impact, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You also work for My Vegas magazine.
I just started up with them.
Oh, did you? Okay, perfect. That's really cool. Great magazine. You're also an ambassador for the Army of God apparel. Really cool, repping the king.
And
yes.
And in real life.
That's awesome. And of course, you're Miss Nevada.
Yes, Miss Nevada Global Continental. So there's a lot of Miss Nevadas, but I'm the MS dot.
There you go. That's so
Nevada.
awesome. And now you know that I'm real. So, how did that start? So, how did we even? I messaged you, but it really wasn't like a direct message to you. I think I ended up on the feed through somebody on a comment.
I think
it was Beja.
Beja.
That's it. Shout out to Beja.
Hey, Beja.
Are you guys good friends?
I met her last year with the Women of Impact. I hosted an event with them, so I basically helped bring in people in the seats and kind of utilize that platform to highlight women after the games, and
That's really cool. I had lost touch with her for maybe, I don't know, a year or so, and then it just popped up on the feed, and I recognized her, so I messaged her, but it was actually on your profile. I think you must have tagged her and it was on her profile, whatever it was, but I made a comment on the picture.
Yeah.
That you were like, is this guy real or something?
Well, and then she commented back, so I'm like, okay, he is a real person.
There you go. Okay, I forgot to mention my own rule. Turn off my phone, and my phone is linked, so that there's no distractions. Very cool. So, tell me a little bit about the Women of Impact.
Whew. It goes back. So I actually, I've had a nonprofit. It's called the Women's Empowerment Network.
Okay.
And before the Women's Empowerment Network, I started an event called the Women's Empowerment Expo.
Okay.
And that started in 2018.
That was here in Vegas?
No, it was in California. So I moved here during COVID.
Oh, no kidding. So did I. When did you come here?
Maybe in June.
Of 2020?
Yeah.
Oh, so you were. You were it was a ghost town.
Ghost town.
Complete ghost town. Like the things that you would see. I would watch like TikToks and things like that. I'd be like, it looks like a movie set. Like that cannot be that there's nobody on the street.
Yeah.
On the strip.
And I was going through. I was battling cancer at that time, so I was like locked up, not going anywhere. But it was a good time to not go anywhere because I had excuses not to go anywhere because we couldn't.
Yeah.
So so I basically, the Women of Impact started just from the Women's Empowerment Expo, which was in Ventura, California. So the Women's Empowerment Expo was an event that I put together, and it created an atmosphere for female entrepreneurs, motivational speakers, and at the time I was actually in a women's home because I was like in an abusive relationship. And I was at my very, very lowest. And for some, like, I went to a conference. I went to a conference during that time, and it just inspired me to put together something where I brought on speakers and women in business. It was so random, but
it's always darkest before the sun comes out.
Yeah, and like I literally had no business experience or anything. And anyways, long story short, like I had 500 people show up to my very first event.
No kidding. The expo?
Yeah.
500 people the first time? How long did it take you to plan it?
Like 4 months.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. Because you didn't have a staff, you didn't have a team.
I didn't have a business card, I didn't have a website. I actually interned for a marketing company so I could learn all that stuff because I didn't have the money at the time. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so I did that event, and then I ended up getting a sponsor. LA Times was my very first sponsor. They're like, bring this to LA. I brought it to LA. Then there was 800 people that showed up. So then through the events I wanted to give back, so I started like working with different sponsors, and so I connected with a lot of women who wanted to donate and support. And this is kind of where the Women of Impact was kind of like developing, but I didn't know what it was yet.
It was forming.
Yeah.
Its own identity.
And then so then I actually was diagnosed with cancer in 2019, and so I was in the process of starting a nonprofit, and proceeding with the Women's Empowerment Expo. And I had to stop because I was sick. And as I was, going through it, there was women who reached out to me, and I was completely bald. I went through chemo, and there were women that were just like, "Hey, girl, can I do your eyebrow, or can I do your eyelashes? Can I donate a wig?" And
I love this.
And like I was like, I'm somebody who doesn't like to take. I've always liked to, have been the helper. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay. And I just remember how much it made me like have a little bit more confidence like in my looks, just having my eyelashes done. So I was like, if I make it through this, I want to give back. Mm-hmm. I want to give back, the same way. And went through, I got through chemo, and then I proceeded with my nonprofit, and a lot more women wanted to help me. And so people would always be like, can you do this event again? And I was just like, I don't want to just be an event. I want to have like a community, because I didn't want to just do something once a year, because people were just like, what's the next? So,
and they're just waiting for the next one. And
yeah, and so so now I just kind of built a community over the past 5-7 years, I'm gonna say. Wow. And I recently just became like member based, because there's just way too many people around me. I'm like, how can I be a little bit more, just work with not everybody, but like just the group that continues to show up. So yeah, I went from an event to a community. There's a lot in between that time, but
I'm sure that's an incredible story of resilience. I didn't know about your health situation. Everybody went through COVID, but you were going through two things at the same time while building a platform. Really, you started an event that actually had 500 people. Like, people are lucky if they get 50, on the first thing. So how did you get that rolling? Like, were you just knocking on doors? How did you get the word out to get 500 people the first time around? Give the secrets, give the goods.
Okay, so first off, I so like right now I do a lot of like graphic design, right? And if you look at my very first flyer that I ever made, I actually have to find it. It's pathetic.
So the first flyer.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, I had no money.
Uh-huh.
I was living in a women's home, and I was like, okay, I knew I had a lot of friends that had, businesses, and I was like, I know I want to have something small. Like, my first event ended up being at the Ventura Beach Marriott, and I was like, okay, it's $2,000.
That's a nice venue.
Yeah, I don't know if it was 2,000 or 5,000, but I'm like, okay.
Yeah, the Marriott.
So I'm like, if I get 100 people to pay $50, that covers it, right?
That takes it over. Okay.
So I just asked a bunch of friends. I'm like, hey, set it up. They're like, how do you even know people are gonna come, Christina? I'm like, I don't know, but just come on. Like, I was just excited to do it, and so
you were just like, support me, $100. Let's get this going.
Yeah, and nobody knew that, where I was living at the time, by the way.
But did you have that's crazy. But did you have like a framing of what the expo was gonna be like, the topics?
Oh,
speakers?
I'm a visionary, so
Okay.
I knew what the whole day. Anytime I plan something, I already know what it's gonna look like. before
Okay,
it even
awesome,
happens.
awesome.
So anyway, so I made flyers. I printed them at Staples or something, paper flyers, like flimsy paper flyers.
God.
And I was like, I want women to come, right? So I went to every women. If there was a women's health clinic, if there was a women's gym, anywhere where there were women, I was posting it up. And I would put, I didn't.
Did you ask permission, or were you just guerrilla marketing it?
Hey, we're not gonna get into that.
I'm a full believer in guerrilla marketing. I've done some things that are not.
I put them under the windshield wipers.
Oh, that's perfect. Yes, that's as guerrilla as you can get. I mean, that's double props to that.
Yeah.
Because that means you were physically going in, doing the thing that most people hate, and you're still doing it.
Yeah.
I used to put out flyers too. I did events.
I don't know why I don't do it anymore, because somebody reads it.
Yeah, obviously it worked. But
Well, no, so I did that, and then so I remember going to the radio station and not knowing anything about media or radio or anything, and I was like, "Hi, I want to put this event to like inspire women." They're like, "Yeah, that's gonna be like 5K," and I'm like, "I know, but it's for the community." They're like, "Yeah, it's still gonna be 5K."
they were asking you for 5,000 so that they can promote it.
Yeah,
So they're asking you for media dollars.
yeah, basically like radio advertising.
Yeah, and you're like,
So I remember like, because I've never done anything in the business world before.
Okay.
So I was so sad, and I walked. I was like, I was kind of wanted to give up because I hadn't really had any ticket sales yet, and I just kept sharing it on social media, and then.
did you have a following?
No.
So you were just sharing it to the same 100 people, 500 people,
Yeah,
whatever.
probably. And I mean, I didn't know anything about strategy or.
Yeah.
So then this girl messages me, and she's like, "Hey, I like what you're doing. Why don't you?" She's like, "I work for this radio station. I want you to come in and I'll help you promote it." And she's like, "I love speaking on women's platform." It was the same radio station that told me that it was
5,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so they ended up sponsoring it. So then I went in, I did my PSA, and at the time my tickets were like $10. And
So you were trying to get tickets out the door, like.
yeah, I just wanted
Come
people
on,
to come.
people, come.
Yeah. And so after I went on the radio and shared about, my mission and who it is that I wanted to help, and it was, a variety of topics. It was, talking about like suicide, depression, postpartum, all these different things that.
Relationship.
Yeah, and so and there was really nothing like that. I've been to a lot of tequila festivals, all these festivals, but nothing, everything to help you forget your problems, but nothing to ever work on them. And so
I like that.
So after I went on the radio, like the tickets were like selling, like they were selling. I ended up selling out within like 3 days.
So that was the boom, like the radio station and this person who believed in you and said, come on over.
Yeah.
You didn't take a no, you just kept going and going.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I've always been that way, but yeah, so that really just kind of like put me ahead. And
did you make a profit?
I did make I didn't make a lot, because I'm somebody who likes to spend, like, because I want to make it a little bit better. Like, okay, I'm gonna need that DJ, I'm gonna need that balloon wall, I'm gonna need all that.
Gold glitter.
I don't think I had balloon walls back in the day, but you want to impress everybody when they're coming to your to your event.
And you're in a nice hotel, and so did you have speakers? And each person aligned?
Yeah, there was I had like maybe like 7 different speakers. I had a performer, like a music. Everybody knew who she was at the time, but I didn't know who she was.
But you reached out to each of these speakers and the performer?
The performer actually found me, and she came out from LA, and she was like really big, like back in the day.
God, that's
and
so
so
cool.
when everybody knew she was coming, they were like, "Oh, she's going? How do you know her?" I'm like,
It's
"I don't
almost
know."
like a concert for them, for let me feel like a little
Yeah.
bit of performing. That's very cool.
Yeah. So from that, I probably made enough to get myself out of the shelter.
And pay off the entire event.
I paid off the event, and I got myself into a room, right? I was renting a room, and then then someone's like, you should do it in LA. I knew 4 people in LA at the time, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it out there. Like, nobody knows me. And people even told me, they're like, we don't want to see you fail. Like, they literally, thought that. And so, like, it kind of put doubt in me. And so I was like, nah, I'm still going to do it. And so.
Good for you.
So I literally was driving to LA, like, almost every weekend at every single women's event. There again with my flyers. And what I would do was, I didn't even realize that it was what I was doing, but I would offer, like, if someone was having an event, I would be like, hey, I want to donate a raffle prize, or I want to give tickets to something, and it gave me an opportunity to be on their stage, because everybody likes when you're giving something to their audience.
So you were giving out a couple of tickets for your next event at other people's events. So they give you time, space for free, and you're able to tap into their audience of already people that are going to women's events.
Yeah, everybody.
That's brilliant.
Everybody remembers a giver at an event, and not really. They know the takers and they know the givers, and I've always been there to give something. And
yeah, you'll never go broke on the give line.
Yeah.
Share that with me, and I was like, that's pretty deep, man, because people always want to take so that they can make more money, but he was like, no, you'll never go broke on the give line.
Yeah, and I still do that. I'll still go to something to this day, and I'll be like, hey, I want to offer, it could be tickets to a basketball game. Like, give it to your crowd. Like, I just want to share, hi, this is my name, and this is what I do, and and it's.
And this big event in LA turned into an 800 people event.
So then, as I'm at another event, it was Latina Fest. I'm Afro Latina, by the way.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
There you go.
I met
Afro Latina. You must speak Spanish because the way you said it.
I mean, my mom, she didn't really speak the most Spanish to us, but I can make some good pozole.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's mean. Okay,
Wait, what are you?
I full Mexican. I grew up in Mexico all my life until I was 16, and I moved to the U.S. and I learned English watching Seinfeld with my stepdad.
Okay.
Yada yada yada. 20 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
on this podcast.
But
that's very cool. So you do some pozole. Your mom is from Mexico.
My mom's Mexican.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think we are from. I'm not gonna even say it because my family's gonna make fun of me because if I say the wrong place. So.
Okay. Well, she's Mexican. Your mom's Mexican.
Yeah.
And your dad is from.
He's white.
He's white. Okay.
I'm just. Come on. Well, but black excellence. Just kidding.
You're Blaxican, is that what you said?
Blaxican, yeah.
I like that. I do like that.
But so anyway, so I'm at Latina Fest, and I'm handing out just flyers, and I meet this lady. Her name is Veronica, and she works for LA Times Espanol. And she's like, I like this, and she gave me her card, and she ended up connecting with me, and she was like, I want to get LA Times to sponsor, and they'll help get your media advertising out. And so they did all my media advertising. They showed it, when they put that brand on my event, people are like,
it's LA Times.
Yeah. And so
it's a great connect.
There I didn't realize there's a lot of strategy to making it happen, and there's not just one thing that you do, it's a lot of things. And I think one thing that I've always done was making sure that everybody a part of the event is seen. Like, I don't care if you're the janitor of the event, you're gonna have a flyer and you're gonna promote it to your people, and even if 2 people come,
get everybody involved.
So when you have 20 speakers, and they all have their own following, and they all have, and when we're talking about topics, it's not, nobody's really everybody's a businesswoman, but they're not going up selling something. They're sharing a testimony, and they're sharing, okay, here's how here's how to work on it, here's the person you need to connect to. But I don't know, just the conversations have just always been very authentic and organic, and I feel like that's why, to this day, people continue to come to my events. And so when the promoting, I just always made sure that I did, I just started doing productions where I'm like, okay, I'm going to get a videographer, we're going to make this video, we're going to do this, I do shoots all the time. I'm like, why do I have so much content that I do nothing with?
You need to repurpose that, cut it, clip it, and just blast it. I mean, you have, I was looking through the stuff, you have good stuff, but I'm sure based on what you're saying, you must have so much
Yeah.
that's not up there.
Yeah, I actually just 2 days ago I was like, why don't you have a YouTube channel? So I was like, I'm gonna start just putting things. So I have so many. I've done so many workshops, so many. I can't tell you how many events I've done in the past 7 years.
That's awesome. I mean, all of those you can grab them and clip them, and it could be repurposed for TikTok, for YouTube Shorts, and for Instagram Reels, and it's the same content, and it'll bring different audiences to each one, and you can actually see which it could produce better sometimes on IG Reels, but then maybe TikTok people really are connected, or maybe it's the YouTube Shorts, which is your longer form content if you actually go on YouTube. But yeah, you should do all this stuff. I love this stuff. Like, I started putting content just 2 years ago, but I had businesses, and then I started putting content, and now it's like, we crank out like 100 pieces of content a week, but I only do about 2 hours of work.
That's working smarter.
It's been systematized. I have a master's in event management and creation, so I love putting out events and everything. This is why I'm like super passionate. What you're telling me is like,
I didn't even know you could go to college for that.
Yes.
Maybe I should go to college, and maybe I'll have a little bit less stress when I'm doing it.
My first job after that was with it was with Brisk Iced Tea. They hired me to do some events like almost like field marketing stuff for them. And then a year later, Pepsi called me, and then that's why I moved to LA, or someone who worked for Pepsi. It wasn't like Mr. CEO. It was like someone that, hey, we saw what you did for Brisk Iced Tea, and I didn't know that Pepsi owns that beverage, Brisk Iced Tea, and I was the #1 in the nation from San Diego, and they're like, come on up to LA. They gave me an apartment and everything. I was I was super happy with them. I was like sold. But I love event management. I know how, oh my God, how hard it is, how stressful it is, because all the sales almost come in at the end, like 80% of them come in towards the end, but you sign these big contracts with catering, with venue, with this, with that, and you're feeling it. And I've been doing events too, like the whole time, and at some point it just switched into, for me, advertising and marketing, but I have a very soft heart and spot for event planning, because I know it takes a lot to put one together.
And the crazy thing is, I'm telling you, like my very first event, I remember like, they're like, okay, your deposit is $1,000, right? And I'm like, okay, that's so much. At the time, it was like so much. And then I went from then booking to $10,000 venues, and then $20,000. I would be like, I can't believe I'm paying this like for venues. I need to open a venue. That's one of my goals, like my own event center.
Yeah, your own center. You can rent it out to other people. I mean, that's what it makes a lot of money. Land, spots, a square. I just went to. Have you heard of this candlelight concerts? So they're all over the world, and they've done here in Vegas maybe 2 or 3. Maybe they come here every once a year. Don't quote me if I'm wrong in the comments, whatever. But it's called the Candlelight Concerts, and it's really just a small concert, a small venue. It's all darkened out, black, but they have hundreds of candles around it. And in this case, like we had a quartet. They were just playing instruments, so it could be anywhere from Vivaldi or Tchaikovsky or piano. And I went for Hans Zimmer, who is the music producer for movies like the Pirates of the Caribbean, I don't know, Inception, Interstellar, The Dark Knight, like really popular scores of music. But the point is, like, this venue is completely sold out, and it really is just a box. And I'm timing out, like, okay, I paid this much money. I was like, they cranked out like tens of thousands of dollars today. From this one show that they picked them to be in here. And I was like, if they do this, I'm sure they must be cranking out like different things all the time. So yeah, having your own space, making it nice, making it accessible. And we live in a city where, I mean, look around. There's something going on 24 hours a day, every day of the year. And it's perfect for that. So when you have your venue, which I'm sure you will, you best believe. Is it just for women, or men come to your events too?
So I have a network. It's called the Elite Network. So that's for men and women, because the men always wanted to come.
Okay.
But
I feel like to the women of impact, I'm probably excluded.
I mean,
which should be like that. It should be like that.
There's certain events where like I allow men. Like I just had one last weekend, I think it was, and there was men, and yeah, they enjoy it.
Do you do smaller events too, or are these always like in the hundreds of people?
I do networking events.
Okay.
Like
meet and greets kind of thing.
yeah, they're typically always there's always a focus.
Oh, pozole and party.
Yeah, I haven't had a pozole party yet, but I will. Maybe Cinco de Mayo.
Come on, pozole party sounds it's like a perfect, alliteration for it. The pozole party, I'm sure people will show up. I don't know, it'd be fun.
Yeah, especially because I'm making it. So, but yeah, I do. I have a network called Elite Network, and I haven't done as much with it as I have with the women, just because I feel like I barely started growing my community here like in October, November. Yeah.
But you moved here 5 years ago.
I moved here 5 years ago, but I've been going back and forth to California.
So were you doing events there, or were you doing events here too now?
I'm still doing them
in both?
Here and there, and I'm actually opening up a studio next month in Ventura, California. It's like a podcast studio.
Okay.
Creative space, host workshops. So I have that out there, but I'm trying to be here in Vegas because this is where I live, and it's easier.
I love it here.
Yeah.
I lived in LA, so I also come from Southern California. I lived in San Diego 12 years, and then LA for the last 8 years, and then the last 4 years here in Vegas. And I go visit LA and San Diego. I'm actually leaving on Sunday, but I just love it here. And sometimes I just come home and I just say I just want to go home to Vegas and relax. It's kind of weird that I have to say I want to go to Vegas and relax.
Well, even living out, in LA, Ventura County, I felt like for me, Ventura County was very small. And so everybody knows you. You have so many things to go to. And I felt like I was always going to everything. And so being here is kind of it's an excuse to not have to be everywhere.
Yeah, you can be like, oh, I already am booked. I'm sorry, I got 3 things going on already.
Yeah.
Can we talk a little bit on your story with the relationship that you were in? And I'm just really interested on. I've had people here and how they overcome, because it really helps to people that watch this and other women. In fact, I've found it that of the women that I've had here, 2 of them have already shared this, and you're the 3rd person. And I'm I've had 5 people, and I can't believe it's this prevalent. So maybe if you want to share a little bit on how you can help somebody.
I think, so my situation was I didn't grow up, coming from a lot of money, and I started working when I was 14 years old, and just helping with things to try to make things easier, for my mom. My mom was a single mom with 7 kids.
Oh my God, okay.
And
where do you fall?
I'm the oldest daughter, and I have an older brother.
Okay. A lot of responsibility.
Yeah, and so my older brother has a mental illness, has schizophrenia, and that alone is a whole nother thing. But I think when you start working so young, you get to a certain point and you're I'm tired. By the time I was in my mid-20s, even throughout high school, I worked 2 jobs sometimes. And I think when I met my boyfriend, it was nice because he was you know what, you don't need to work anymore, and it was kind of a lot of girls' dreams, and some of them still are, power to you, but I'm gonna take care of you, you don't have to work. And so by me doing that was me just letting go of having my own having my own money,
autonomy,
being independent. And so I didn't realize what I was in until I was dang, you don't, if he doesn't give you allowance, then you don't have money. Or if you don't come home, if I didn't come home at a certain time, my stuff would be thrown all over the lawn, or my heels would be broken, my clothes would be thrown away.
Okay, so he's crazy.
Yeah, all the things that were given to me could easily be taken. And so
did he not let you work, or he just said, I'm gonna take care of you, but you're not allowed to work?
He didn't say you can't work. He says, I don't want you to work. You take a bath, do all the things. Here, go buy some things for the house. It was more be a housewife, but not really.
Manipulation and possessiveness,
Yeah. So, and I was maybe like 8 years younger. And so I still wanted to, you know, go to do things with my friends. He didn't want to. And so like if I didn't come home, he would just be like, if you want to, you know, be out, he's like, just stay out and don't come back. And I'd be like, okay, like until when?
Yeah, you guys live together, yeah, until the next morning. Like, does the clock reset?
So
wow.
Yeah, so then things like started getting like physically, where like I had like black eyes, and I had like, I would always have bruises like on my arms, and I started just like to hide it because I didn't want anybody to ask me questions, because it's I think one of the things a lot of women that go through domestic violence could share is that like you don't want to talk bad about the person because you know that you still have to live with them. Like, how can you,
when you're in the situation?
Yeah,
like, you fear for yourself.
Yeah, so it's like you end up covering up yourself, but you're also covering up for that person. And
but you're doing it out of your own self-protection. Like, it's not like you're trying to...
I just didn't want people to ask me questions and then have to tell them. I don't know what it is, but it's something that you end up hiding. And you know, it happened for a while, and I remember wearing glasses, like my sunglasses. I'm not dealing with it anymore. I don't have black eyes right now. But
well, you can see through those.
Yeah. I just remember like just one day just like coming home, and like my stuff was thrown all over the yard, like my clothes were all ripped up, and like it started to become like the neighbors started to notice that, you know, like, why is her stuff, like they would see me picking up my stuff, and
like outside of the house, like on the yard.
Yeah,
no, that's crazy.
I mean, and I would cry because I'm like dang, like I'm like, where's like my jacket, where's my pants? Gone, thrown away. And I'd be like, okay, I'm not gonna go stay at my friend's house anymore. I'm not gonna, you know. So I started like being okay with it. And you know, I really haven't shared this, you know, in depth. People know that I went through it, but they don't really know a lot of the story. But it came to a point where, yeah, that happened, and he wasn't home when I got home. And I remember just getting like, I thought about all the things that I had. I'm like, oh, you have these purses, you have these clothes. And for the first time, I didn't even care about it. I'm like, you know what? I was like, I don't care about these things anymore. Like, you want to buy them and take them away, buy them and take them away. Just, you know, so I went in the house, and I honestly, like, I looked around. I'm like, I have these candles, I have these dishes, I have, you know, all these things, and I'm like, I don't even want it. And so I got, you know, a bag, you know, what clothes I had, and I just left everything, and I put as much as I can in my car. And I had, at the time, this little, I had a little Infinity, and it had a sunroof. And I think I had like one like little dresser that I wanted, and it was all sticking out of my sunroof. And I got everything as quick as I can, and it was like crazy because I was like, I have to get everything before he gets home.
This sounds like a movie kind of thing.
I mean, this is a part
like, I'm feeling the tense, and I know it already happened, and I know the movie ended up well.
Are your armpits getting sweaty?
I am like I am like, oh, this guy's gonna show up. Like, she's getting the clothes, everything, and where's she gonna go? Okay.
And so I was like, okay, where am I gonna go? You know, it was like in the moment thing, unplanned.
So you didn't talk to your siblings about this? Your mom? You didn't
I didn't even.
Your friends?
So one, my mom did not know that I was living with a guy, because we are very Christian, and that's not.
Mexicana.
Yeah, we are not. You don't do that.
Yep.
So yeah, she didn't know, and I kind of just stayed in my own little world, and like my world was me and this guy.
Okay. For how long were you guys together?
Not more than a year. It was like.
Okay. So it escalated.
Like, I mean, we lived together pretty quickly.
Yeah, but it escalated his behavior from boyfriend moving in to possessive to don't work to throwing your stuff to physical.
And yeah, so I had at the time, you know, a couple $100 that like he would get, like that I had saved from what he gave me, and I stayed in a hotel until I had no more money, and then I was like, okay, I don't want to tell anybody. I don't know why I didn't want to tell anybody.
But you found the resilience like within you. Were you praying?
Nope, I didn't even know God at the time. But
He was with you.
yeah, but so I drove, and it's funny because you don't feel like you're homeless when you have a nice car or you have a nice purse or you have all the things. And I felt like, how can you go there? They're gonna think that that you're not homeless, but I didn't have anywhere to go. And so I drove there, and I had a nice car and I had a couple things in my trunk, and I was just like, I don't have anywhere to go. And they, got me in the home. And I think for like 2 days I just kind of like laid there, and I'm just like, well, how did I get here? Like, why am I here? And I've always been a very determined, ambitious person, and I knew like I didn't belong here. And I saw the people around me where they were, like I could tell they had like mental illness, or they were coming off of drugs, or like they were just, I didn't feel like I belonged there. And so that's when I literally felt like God spoke to me and was just like, get up, Christina. I would just lay there, get up. And so I don't know, like I literally went on Eventbrite like back in the day, and I was looking for motivational events. And I mean, and this leads into everything that I do now. But I went to that event, and
everything, like, you wouldn't be where you are right now if these things hadn't happened. So there's always a point where like, and that was it for you to look up an Eventbrite of an event that was coming together.
So I go to this, it was called the Ultimate Women's Expo, and I didn't know what it was. It looked cool, like they had all this hair stuff going on, like they were gonna have some housewives there, and I'm like, okay, that looks cool. And to be a vendor there, you're paying about like $5,000. The tickets were free to go, and they had like something that said like motivational speaker stage. There was a lady speaking and nobody was really listening. There was like chairs, but maybe like 4 people in the audience.
Because it's a big expo, right?
Yeah.
This one. And so that was her little stage. She was talking.
She was on the small stage.
But you heard her.
Yeah, and so nobody was listening, but I was just kind of like, I think when you're going through something, you kind of want to listen, but you kind of want to act like you don't need it. Like you don't need to hear it. And I was listening, and and I always share this. She said something. She said, if you're tired of doing the same thing over and over, then stop doing the same thing over and over. And for me at the time, it was going back and forth. Like in my head, I was like, you're gonna have to go back to this guy, because you're gonna be here. You're gonna stay here unless you go back to him. Like, how are you gonna pull yourself out of here?
Got it. So it's either where you were in that women's
like, because I think when you're there, you're like, how am I ever gonna get out of this?
Right. And then the other place you say like, oh, I have safety, I have cars, I have food, I have this.
I don't know, but hearing those words, just like something like a light switch went off in my head. Don't go back. You're tired of it. And when I left there, I was like, one day I was like, I want to do an event. And I remember like there was like different vendors. There was like different, like one, I just remember this guy that was a vendor there at a women's expo, and he was hitting on me, and he was just so like, like, I don't know, but I was like, I want to have something like this, but no guys like that guy. And I think that kind of made it where I'm like, okay, this is just gonna be women, where I could walk and I don't have to hear somebody whistling behind me.
So those two things, you went to this conference, you heard the women say the words, stop doing basically the same thing if you're tired.
Yeah, and then
I got hitting on you.
Yeah, and
the decision.
And it's funny because I have people in my family and my friends. Every time I go to something, I'm like, I want to do something like this, but this is what I want to do different, because this is what I really disliked. And that's real. That's I think 2 days later, I'm like, hey girl, I'm like, I want to. Do you want to sell your Tupperware at my event that I'm gonna have? What's it called? I'm like, I don't know, but I didn't know nothing, and that's how everything kind of.
You started messaging people. Do you remember that woman who said those words? Do you know her name?
No, I wish.
That's going fast.
I wish I could give her some credit for helping me become the woman that I am.
That's like an angel on the spot. I mean, like, those are one of those things where you heard of the butterfly effect, where like someone says something here and it has like an effect that ripples, because those words in a sense like hit you so hard that you are, I mean, how many people have gone to your events? How many people have you helped out? Think of a number, and then those people have helped not only themselves but the people around it. See, when you help somebody else, like the ripple effect, it gets felt all around it. Your family, your kids, your husband, your employer, your employees, whatever it is. And so it just takes one person to create this like ripple effect of impact, and she doesn't even know. And that's what's cool, that you have no idea probably of all the people that you've impacted and how they've done in other lives. I'm sure you know a lot who you've impacted because they're part of your group and you know it, but then there's one of those things where like, you know, that person did those, and I remember those people for me were like, this person said this once and he has no idea, and I will never be able to thank him, and you know, and then there's other people where like I know they've coached me, or they said something, or they pulled me out of a hole, and I'm able to be super grateful.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that, you know, back then I wanted, you know, girls, you know, my age that had a testimony, right? And they're sharing that they went through it, but really all they could share is that they went through it. And I started learning about different coaches. Like, I never heard of a life coach. I never heard of a personal development. I didn't even know what personal development was. And as I started planning things, I'm like, probably should have somebody who's an expert in what they're talking about. You know, because you could inspire somebody, but are you going to give them the tools do you have the tools to help them to actually do something about it? So like, you know, even like to this day, the last event that I did this weekend, I was like, okay, if we're talking about health, I want a doctor. I want a holistic doctor. If we're talking about finance, I want a financial expert. If we're talking, you know, and now I focus on, okay, you need help. Here are the people that are also going to be here to help you. Here's the resources.
Experts in each of their own kind of fields. That's awesome.
I mean, I feel like I started to get lost in the, you know, the having speakers who have a following because they're trendy, because they're making funny TikTok videos, but they don't really have the education or the tools to really help people. People just are there at the event because they're like, I want a picture with this person. And
they bring a crowd. But your goal, from what I'm understanding, is like the mission is to really help people.
Yeah, and
so you want to put people that are helpful, not just
and
fabulous.
And there are people that really want help. So like I kind of try to create that environment when I'm promoting. I'm like, this is what you're gonna come. Here's what you're gonna come here for. So it could be, you're here because you wanna learn how to create content, right? It could be boring to somebody, but there are some people out there that want to learn how to create their own content.
Correct.
So it kind of weeds out, you know, the people. I realize people are there sometimes there for a party. I used to throw great parties, but I remember I'd have speakers and no one's listening, but everyone's drunk, and so I'm like, Christina, you got to separate the party from the educational part. You know, have that afterwards or something. But
yeah, that's really cool. Well, talk to me about the new community. So events grew, more and more events here in Los Angeles, and eventually you're like, okay, it's outgrowing. I want to have a community. So tell me about this community program.
So now I have a community, and now now I'm just working on things that are going to actually help the community, because I don't know how many memberships that I've had to so many things, and I'm just like, what am I paying this membership for? Like, I don't want to question why I have a membership to something. So
subscription based.
Yeah.
How much is it?
$150 for the entire year.
Oh my God, that's nothing.
My members are like, you need to charge me more. I'm like, never has a member told me you need to charge me more. But
$150 a month is low.
Well,
but it depends, obviously, the people that you're.
Yeah, so definitely I think I am going to increase the price just because of there needs to be value in a lot of the perks that they get, because you can't get it anywhere else.
How many members do you have?
Probably so I launched my membership in December in Beverly Hills.
So it's location based?
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna my plan is to be everywhere. But so I probably have in California, it was a very soft launch, but I have 30 there, and maybe here about 50.
Oh, that's pretty good. Because you just started too. I see. So
I
that's
haven't-
even better because you
haven't
can
even-
silo it. You can have here, you can have there, like different pockets of the community.
Yeah, and I haven't really advertised it yet. Like, so, like when I had the event, everybody goes to my website to register, you know, to sign up for the event. And they're like, "Oh, what's this?" So they see all my events. Like, have you been to my website?
I have, and I saw you on TV too. I saw you've been on TV
Oh, God.
recently. What is it, 2-3 times, like in a week? Like
That was my
I like,
first time. I was like, okay, one of my things is I was like, I always wanted to be on the news.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on there anymore.
well, check. Like you know, triple.
Yeah. Bucket list check off.
That's awesome.
But what was I saying?
You were talking about your website. People going to your website.
Oh yeah.
And they can register.
So I've just had it there, like become a member. So I've been wanting to do it, but I never launched it. And somebody actually signed up before to be a member, but I didn't even know it was that I activated that link. So. I started seeing like, oh, you have new subscribers, you have new members. I'm like, new members? I'm not ready for them yet. I actually gave one girl her money back because I'm like, I'm not ready to start taking members yet.
In a specific area, in like a different location.
No, here in Vegas.
Oh, here in Vegas.
This was
that's
like,
always good.
so I took it off, and she was like, well, why did you give me my money back? And I was like, because I don't feel right, you know, taking money for a subscription if I don't have anything to give you yet.
Oh, that's very nice.
And so I'm like, okay, what can you do, you know, for our community? And I know that like over the years, you know, when you have hundreds of people that are going to your events, I've started collecting emails, right? So, you know, just as through registrations. So, you know, I realized I'm like, you have like over 15,000 like emails that you do nothing with. So I'm like, why don't you, you know, offer to, you know, everyone's always like, here's my flyer. Can you share this? Can you share this? And I would always do it, but I'm like, why should I always be promoting people why am I helping all these people make money? And someone's getting mad at me over here because I'm not posting their stuff. And I'm like, how about if you want to pay me, then I will post it.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes perfect sense. You work to have that community or those links or those emails or whatever it is, and if they want to use you, you're basically becoming your own small media.
Yeah, and
distribution.
And I can't tell you how many people, like even on the stages, like they got so many clients. Like I see so many people that are like personally that I know. I'm like, you guys are doing business together now. And so you know, I see
people that you bring on the stage, and then your guests go up to make business with them. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, they like, so if I have some kind of coach that that's on the stage, like their clients, I'm bringing them the people that they're looking for.
Correct. If they sign up, they don't give you, they should.
And so I mean, I used to be like, would you please come speak at my event? Until people started, you know, saying, hey, how much is your sponsorship? And I was like, I don't even know what a sponsorship is.
Yeah, because they should be paying to be on the stage.
So I remember getting my first $2,000 sponsor, then a $5,000 sponsor, and then a $10,000. And I'm like, you know, and so I think when I started, you know, seeing, you know, obviously people saw value like in my events, and I was like, okay, like, you know, how do I still maintaining a community. So what I put together for like this membership is one, like a lot of vendors, all these women, they're paying like $200.
The Vegas trip on a Friday night.
Yeah, is that what this is? I mean, this is going out for me.
Yeah,
I'm always on my laptop.
Oh my God, that's what I like about the podcast is that there's something always going on the strip. Like the strip becomes its own like character. It's been pretty mellow. I'm waiting for, you know, something to drop or something, but you know, I've had police, helicopters. I've seen people that grab my car on motorcycles and they won't let go. Other people recognize that we're filming because it's playing on my digital screen on the back of my car.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I could be back there and see it.
Well, it'll say like CEO InMotion podcast right now. It's going on, so like some people recognize, and then, you know, hello. Sometimes they say like, and sometimes they're rude. Or not rude, but they say like, what the fuck?
You ever have people knock on the window?
Yeah, sometimes like one time like there was a group of like motorcyclists, and they wouldn't let go of the car. They just grabbed onto the car, and I'm driving, and the guest is here, and then we're filming, and I was like, and they wouldn't let go of the car, and then they stopped us. They got in the car. They were like, film us, tag us, and oh my God, there's been so many things that happen here. Military planes, and they're just like random things where we're just talking like we were right now, and that guy was like, did you see the guy dressed up as Frankenstein playing the drums in the middle of the street? And I was like, what?
You need to get a drop top convertible and then see what happens.
Yeah, so I've been toying with the idea. My marketing manager keeps like saying like do it, to get one of those 360 GoPros like outside, because like right now we talk about what's going on, but we don't, sometimes when it's really crazy, I'll grab my phone and you'll start seeing the footage, and it's fun, and some, I mean, you were talking about like, was it singing or something, like bring the musica, music.
Yeah, it was like the musica.
I have girls here that they just love it, and the car has a feature that's called the karaoke.
I sing mariachi.
Yeah. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I would have to find something. And so then they just roll down the windows and they start, this becomes like just like a little fun thing to do in the middle of something like that's like serious. So that's why I like this podcast. It's a little different than the traditional sitting down microphone. Sometimes people don't get it, and also I would pick people up and we would have these great conversations in the car that were so natural that by the time we got to my office in Summerlin and sit down and film, I would just be like, do you remember what you were saying? And tell me again. And just like, that's why I was stopping you right now and be like, don't tell me anything. Because I want to react just natural to how it is. And so.
That's good. And it's funny because I haven't really gone, I've been on a couple of podcasts, and I'm opening a podcast studio. I don't know if it's, but I have so many great conversations with people too. And I'm always like, man, I wish we had this on a podcast.
That's right.
But
yeah, this should be very like, I want to meet people that are having an impact. I want to meet founders. I want to meet CEOs. On this chair where you're sitting on the seat, I guess, not even the chair. I've had access to people that are, billionaires that they would never answer my phone call, or I've had access to people that have gone through tremendous trauma, or I've had influencers with many millions of followers, and very very different. And there was one guy that was telling me a story about how he's older, and do you know who Mr. Beast is?
Mr. Beast doesn't ring a bell.
Mr. Beast he's a YouTuber,
okay.
But he is the largest YouTuber in the world.
Like largest as in like large?
The largest in influence, in money making, in views, in everything. He is the single biggest YouTuber in on the planet. And anyways, like he I guess like he also didn't know, and Mr. Beast bought like seats for him for the Super Bowl, and his kids were freaking the hell out. They were like, "Oh my God, Mr. Beast!" And so he was telling me, he's like, this beastie guy, and I was like, "Wait, Mr. Beast?" And he goes like, "Yeah." And this guy, he's now the biggest, but the way he started was by giving. His very first videos, he's a very chill. You don't think about like, flashy guy, chains on it. No, he really is a guy from a small town who became viral at the beginning because he started tipping, like waitresses for like $100.
Oh yeah,
so he would
I
give
do that
this
sometimes.
And this is like years before it became for anything. Like he honestly was just doing it on it, and I think he got caught on tape and he started doing it, and then eventually he started giving away a car, and then he would buy an entire dealership of cars, and then he would give 50 cars to people. Yeah. Now he buys islands. I mean, he really is the biggest there is. There's no one bigger than him.
Yeah,
and he's extremely successful.
That's great to hear, because I'm gonna tell you, I don't know how much of me you researched, but I've literally went to the Middle East, taking, thousands of packages of diapers and food, and like in the middle of a war, I've been to the Gaza refugee camp, went to the Middle East, like just me and this girl, and I was like in my 20s, and I was like, I have to help all these women with diapers, and I've always had a lot of support. I've always just said, hey guys, I'm doing this. And
that's so
the
awesome,
way that
Christina.
The way that people always come through, like when you're able to give like by the thousands, it's crazy.
Doesn't that feel like people like they don't get it? Like the more you give, the better it feels. It's like love is the one thing, but the more you give, the more it grows.
Yeah, it's and I'm gonna say I can never do it by myself, and you have to kind of like grow. Like you have to have a grow community that's gonna trust that you're gonna do what you say that you're gonna do. So yeah, I've done that, and I go my friend has an organization. It's called the Impact Movement. So I go with her out to Mexico. I've been out twice to help build homes for families. Yeah.
I've done it. Me and my wife have done it separately, and we're going to El Salvador this year to go build homes for people there too. It's an amazing experience.
Yeah,
I'm not a builder whatsoever, but I got on the roof, I got the nails, I got everything.
Yeah,
they needed.
I love doing things like that, and there's actually a place called Casa de Abuelitos, and it's like a bunch of senior this man and this woman, they take care of like all the seniors that they find on the street. They're either widowed or they're alone. And so I went, when did I go? I think it was in December, a little bit before Christmas. And I went and we played loteria, and then paint like the ladies' nails, do their hair, take them socks and like little things, and they just love it. And
that's so nice.
Yeah.
You're a very good person.
I try to be, I think
you have a good heart. I think God is shining His light through you for other people.
Yeah, it's crazy because I think that sometimes something that's not that much to us, and it could be how far $20 could go for somebody in Mexico, or $50, or just
insane
buying them. I remember I went to an orphanage, and there was a lady. I met a lady there. She had like a baby. She wasn't a part of the orphanage, but she like lived in the village like around there.
Okay.
And I went with my church, and we were going out for coffee, and she's like, "Can I come?" Didn't really know her, and we're like, "Yeah, come on." And we took her. We got her a coffee and like a bagel, and we were sitting with her, and she just started crying. And we're like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "This is one of the best days of my life." Over like being able to get something in a coffee shop and just be around us, and
the things we take for granted.
Yeah.
I always thought, and I remember when I grew up in Mexico. My mom was like divorced also from my dad, so raising 3 children, but I remember I have a cousin who lives here in LA, or he lived here in LA. Anyways, I remember just growing up in like semi-poverty, I would say, like we used to go eat tacos de nada, which now when I think about
tacos of nothing.
Yes, and it literally were fried tortillas that were empty because she couldn't afford like anything, so we would go out of these places, and all they would put is like
butter,
crema, and onions on top of it with some salsa, so you could get like, I don't know, 5 tacos for 1 peso, whatever it was. I just remember that it was incredibly cheap, and we thought, we were like, oh my God, we're going out for tacos and now that I'm an adult, I realized that like my mom was really feeding us like empty stuff because we couldn't afford it.
Yeah, like tortillas we would have tortillas with butter, like that was.
Yeah.
I thought it was a snack, but I was like.
Okay, so we would do tortillas con azúcar, like literally just poquito de azúcar, o sal, but I prefer the azúcar, and that was it, just tortilla with azúcar, like not like when you think back, it's like crazy.
Yeah.
But I saw my cousin, roll down the window once and give like $20 to, a child that was, asking on the street. And I remember that kid took the money and then didn't even say thank you and like walked away. And it really had an impact on me because in my mind I was like, oh my God, that was $20. And the kid didn't say anything. And I remember my cousin said like, gratitude should be always the most important thing. But if you give, a kid $20, he'll forget it. But if you take that $20 bill and you take that kid, the same kid, and take him laser tagging for 30 minutes or an hour, he'll remember that for life. So people remember the experience and how you made them feel.
Yeah.
So maybe it wasn't the bagel for that woman that you're talking about, but it was the experience that you guys took her in and went out and she was part of it. I can't imagine being the best bagel on earth that, she would say that, or the coffee, but it was really like the experience. And I've always, maybe that's why I started doing events, because my goal after I've achieved, hopefully.
Are you still doing events?
Not in that way. So now I'm a partner and vice president of marketing for a beverage company. So we run events.
Where's the beverages at?
Oh my God, I should have. I've given to you, but you wanted your medicine ball.
It's funny because after I was doing a little research on you, I was like, I should have told him to bring me one of these because
I have some in my trunk, but they're not cold. But so For those of you watching, I am a partner. I haven't even made this like fully public, but it's called Hive 2.0, and it's a natural beverage of just water, honey, and real fruit. So I'm very particular on the ingredients. I also don't drink alcohol, and the non-alcoholic market, really like sucked. And when I try these beverages, oh my god, you cannot believe how amazingly good they are. I mean, not only did I try them and my head like blew off, I saw hundreds of people. Like I really just watched at one of the events getting sample and people's reactions when they tried them for the first time, and I was like, it's unbelievable. Plus I love the bees and what they do for all of us humans. I love the packaging, everything. I could like nerd out, and I've worked in beverage companies before, and somehow later on I became the partner and the vice president of marketing for the company. But I'll hook you up for sure. I will hook you up.
Yeah, because it's so funny.
And maybe for your events, yeah.
Well, because cool. I recently so I put on a faith-based event. It's called God and Girlfriends, and it's a dinner, and I do it once a month. And I'm like, I just told somebody, I'm like, I'm gonna cut the alcohol part out because I don't feel right. I'm bringing people to God, right, to help them. And when there's people that are trying to escape addiction, and they're trying to get sober, and when I'm bringing them to a place, for healing, how am I truly, I know that there's people that are like, sorry, I'm not drinking and I feel bad,
There's alcohol shaming.
Yeah.
There's all this stuff. I've been sober for 7 years, so I understand the addiction very, very, very well.
Yeah.
I lived on the whatever. That's part of my story, but I cannot believe I have Teslas now, like plural.
Yeah.
And when I used to.
Oh, let me borrow one.
Yeah. Do you like it? Have you ever been? They drive themselves.
That's like a dream come true because I hate driving.
So here, I'll put the full self-driving right now for us, and the car will start driving us as soon as crazy Carrot Top in front of us like gets out of it. But there, so I don't have to drive us anymore. It'll stop and it'll brake. It checks everything in real time. But anyways, the I don't even know where the background was, and every time I talk about Tesla, I kind of get distracted because I love it so much.
Well, so you're sharing about
where were we? You were talking about Christianity. Oh, the beverages.
It smells like weed. Are you?
I don't do high. I don't do any of that stuff. I know. God bless has removed the obsession from me. Thank God, and I praise God every single day.
Alexa, play some Dr. Dre.
That I woke up sober. Oh, I'm down for some Dr. Dre. And this is not Alexa, but yeah, I am down for Dr. Dre. I love still the music. Eminem, like he's still my OG favorite rapper. 50 Cent too. Like I can get down with some great music. And anyways, like these beverages, if you do want some, they're all alcohol free.
Yes.
I have a wine alcohol free that's absolutely award winning. A hops that literally has our mountain spring water, our honey from our own beehive, so we have our own bees and everything. Hops and lemon. It really is delicious. I want you to try it. I will hook you up.
Yeah.
And then for your events that are small, there's a couple of people that do like women's retreats too.
I'm hosting I'm gonna launch it tomorrow, my first women's retreat here.
Oh, there you go.
But it's business wellness, so it's like a whole business segment and then wellness, and I think I'm very intentional with everything that I do. So if I'm promoting wellness, I'm not going to be giving you soda. I'm not going to be giving you.
Oh, this is the best. I'm right up your alley.
Yeah.
Because it's all natural. There's absolutely nothing artificial. There's no additional sweeteners. Our cans have about 30 calories per can, and that's because of the honey, the real honey. That's the sugar. There's nothing added to it. Real fruit, real honey, GMO, like everything that you non-GMO, everything that you want on a good beverage, gluten-free. And they're super fancy. I mean, it's a really premium beverage. It's literally right up your alley. So there you go.
I'm glad you shared that with me, just because I'm also working on the Health and Wellness Summit. And I've done them before too, and it's just I like the aesthetics of certain drinks and stuff, and I really do like people to like.
Have you seen our stuff? Have you looked at my? I want to send this stuff separately because I don't want to make this on it, but
okay.
I think you will absolutely love it, especially for people who don't drink. And that's that. You and I can talk separately on that.
Okay.
I'm more curious on you. But so you have these summits that are coming up. By the time this podcast goes out live, I mean it's probably gonna be in April. Sometimes I know who is gonna be, but a lot of the times my marketing manager sets up the guests on my podcast. Like,
and I feel like a lot of people, they see, you see what you see on social media, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't feel like social media can share my whole life or everything that I do, or so sometimes people are like, oh cool, like why did you start this? And I'm like, well, because of this, that, and the other. And you don't see that anymore because that was posted on my feed in 2018.
And I mean, if you notice by my questions, like I'm naturally inclined to know what the origin of something was, because the same goes with me. And I had to struggle becoming public on social media or whatever. But once you build like a business and you talk on it, then people started listening, and then I started, doing more fun things and whatever. The crazy thing is, like, people like the flashy things. People love like the big things. Oh, I got this or that. But I'm really not. Sometimes I'm eating at home and I'm eating like literally like tuna out of a can.
Yeah,
and my wife would be like, you're a millionaire and you're just eating tuna out of a can. And I said, baby, like, there's no cameras here. Like, this is like really.
Well,
like,
I'm rolling around with a millionaire. I didn't even know that. I didn't do enough Google research.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I went from $7 to 7 figures in under 12 months in a year when I started, one of my companies, the InMotion Media Group. So we'll talk on that too separately if you want to. But I own a media and advertising agency, and then it grew. I'm doing a seminar tomorrow for 5 or 6 people, actually 5 people, all friends that I know on how to grow their social media. And they're like, bro, like, I know you're doing the beverage, I know you're doing this, I know you're posting like clips 100. I was like, how? And I said, oh, well, automation. Let me show you my tricks.
Yeah.
So I didn't care. I charged my friends. I was like, hey, it's $12.50. You guys can come for 6 hours, one-on-one time, and for 6 hours I will create content for you guys with my team. My team will be there. We'll film you. We'll edit you. We'll give you all of our tools and AI, and then after that, you can do whatever you want on your own. But we charge $5,000 a month for social media accounts when we grow social media accounts. For $12.50, I was like, you guys can do that, and then you'll find all my secrets. And I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm charging way too little, bro. Way too little. I mean, I organize.
But I'm only getting 5 people.
Yeah.
So that's really nothing to, But it also depends on the people. Like, if you're working with an audience that is struggling and everything, and everybody's got their things. I've paid some crazy amounts of money for being in some of these.
Well, they're not. The thing is that they're not. I have a lot of successful women who own so many things, but they need help with their marketing. Like,
we should talk about that. Because I
I'm
started learning that that my services are valued at a higher price point, because I used to be like, no one's gonna listen to me, why would I do this, I'm charging too little, or I don't want to take advantage.
It's like, it's the lawyers, it's the doctors, it's like they're like, is this monthly or is this
well, that's why when you say $150, I was like, oh my god, that's so cheap. And still I was thinking that was monthly.
Because I've never had a membership base. I know I do extremely well with events, like even like with the sports industry. So like, I create events in the arena. I bring people in seats. Like, I take $2,000 investment and I turn that into $50K.
That's incredible.
Like, and I know
I want to invest in you.
And like that, I'm confident in charging what I charge because I know the value of it.
And that's perfect. That's really how it is. And for me, like, this thing that I'm doing tomorrow, it's actually my very first time. Like, I've never done like a seminar or anything. I honestly just posted on my story, hey.
Do you do motivational speaking or anything? Do you speak like on stages?
I'd love to. I haven't. I mean, I've done it, on a small scale with like friends or in rooms where they ask me to come in and, pump them up. And I have some crazy stories too, because like a window fell on my head from a from a 10-story building, and then like 3 years later I'm climbing like Kilimanjaro, and that whole journey like turned me into God, I mean, you have your story. Everybody has like their story, but those are the things that I started talking.
Did you have an injury attorney? Because I got 2 in my network. We have
I have many PI clients across the country that advertise on my billboards. But this was years ago. This happened in 2013. And anyways, and what's crazy is that like I had that lawyer, whatever, and after 3 years, I couldn't even really walk. Like I had to sell my car because I couldn't turn to the blind spot. Like I had to go through physical therapy for 3 years. And anyways, I was such a, I don't even know if it was arrogant or it was more like determined. Let's just go with determined. But I decided to climb the tallest mountain in Africa, and I went to Kilimanjaro, and I summited Kilimanjaro.
Okay, well that's definitely the first time I've ever heard that.
Yeah, and I've never even gone camping, and here I am like in Africa, just climbing the summit of the tallest peak in the country, in the continent, 19,341 feet, and now it's tattooed on my heart. But anyways, like I did that, and the whole thing, like it was like a chain reaction of events that happened. I love sharing the story because right now what I share about my wife saying I'm, whatever she said, we met when she, when I was sleeping on an inflatable bed. Like I didn't even have a bed, no job, inflatable bed, no car. People now see us and they're like, oh, this social media couple and with the cars and whatever. But that we've been together for 12 years. She was 19 when I met her.
Wow. How old are you?
I'm 40.
40.
Yeah, and she just turned, and she's 30. So I'm 40, she's 30, and we have the best time together. She's my best friend, my complete angel. I love everything and anything about her. And now, as we're approaching back the point, I do want to say that as you grow in your own business, like it's really cool to see and to meet really genuine, kind people. I've met some great people in here, and I was like, well, I know I'm not gonna be friends with that person, but I learned a lot. And then there's others that I genuinely hope that we stay connected and we can help each other, cheer each other up.
You're my friend, Chava. Okay.
Well, now that I'm Beja approved,
okay, yeah,
and I'm real, I think we and I live here. We could always have like more coffee. And now I know what to get you.
Now just don't order it until it's actually 5 o'clock.
There you go. I did order it.
Okay,
before. You were late. I took the record. She was late.
I'm working on that.
I do want to thank you. I think you're a tremendous person. Thank you for opening up more than anything, because we really are strangers to each other. There's not enough Google search, Instagram, whatever that we can do in each other to really get to know the depth of the person, and you open up, I think, a very important part of your life to really a random guy on your DMs. Sure, you get a lot of those.
It's just because your name was Chava, and I'm like, you know what? His name's Chava. Why not?
Chava's the name. Insta Chava's the game. That's what I say. And I walk around events with this backpack with Insta Chava on it, and that's a freebie. I got many.
Where can I cop me one of those?
The company's called LEDbackpack.com.
Oh, that's you? Okay, well, take a look at that.
Yeah, so it was really a pleasure. Anything else you want to share? Your closing monologue?
Yeah, if I could just share anything about, I think anything that I've accomplished, or, and I it's just funny because just last week I went on the news so many times, and it was one of my goals, and every time I set a goal for myself, I'm like, okay, I did it, like, what's next, and I never just stop to like just say, just to enjoy the moment. So I like, if there's anything that I could share that has helped me, it's just been focusing what I do on helping people, because God will take care of you. That's all I could say.
Amen.
Like, starting with no money to start, and I'm not a millionaire yet.
You will be.
But
100%, I guarantee it.
But over time, like, it gets better. So. And
I just want to clarify, the million is not even the goal. Is the impact that you have on other people.
Yeah.
I think money, the only thing that it gives you is options. Like, if I have $10, then I could probably only go eat to Denny's or McDonald's. If I have 20, all right, I could do some P.F. Chang's or something, Chipotle, I don't know, they've raised their burrito. But I can't go to a steakhouse. But if I have 100, now I can go to more places. That's really, to me, what money does. That it gives me an option to, I take care of my mom, sister, sibling, niece, employees, wife, dogs, and it's the best blessing that I have. It really is the best blessing. So once you get there, I think it's only as a result of the impact. Because you can't become a millionaire by accident.
Yeah.
Like, you have to create value. And you're giving so much value that at some point, maybe after this, don't hate me if it starts raising the prices. But you start valuing yourself even more and even more and even more. And it's not greed, and I had to switch over that. I'm not cheap. I just told you how much I charge. $5,000 a month, for social media services. But we kick ass at what we do. But it was enough for they find value. And if they're PI attorneys, they get one case, and the average case is $12,000, for one person.
All right, we're raising your membership fees.
Don't blame me. All right. This has been an awesome episode of the CEO in Motion. Christina, thank you so much. That was awesome. Peace out.